the spotlight carved through the darkness of Carnegie Hall, illuminating two grand pianos positioned face to face on the stage. The audience of 2,000 held its breath. Two men, both 47, sat motionless at their instruments, fingers hovering above the keys like prayers waiting to be answered. Darius Coleman and Owen Mitchell. Two names that hadn't been spoken together in 25 years. Two men who had once been closer than brothers. Two souls who had become strangers, separated by betrayal, ambition, and a single catastrophic night that destroyed everything they had built together. But what really happened 25 years ago? And what secret would be revealed on this stage tonight? The answer would change everything they thought they knew about friendship, forgiveness, and the price of truth. This is their story. Darius Coleman was a legend in certain circles. A black pianist whose fingers could make a Steinway weep, he had built a successful career performing in intimate jazz clubs and recording studios across America. His interpretations of classical pieces blended with soul and blues had earned him a devoted following. But those who knew his history understood that Darius was supposed to be something more, something greater. Owen Mitchell took a different path. As a professor of piano performance at the Manhattan School of Music, he had shaped 3 generations of pianists. His students won competitions. His name appeared on concert programs as a mentor, a teacher, a respected authority. But late at night, alone in his practice room, Owen played pieces that no one would ever hear. Pieces filled with regret. They had been best friends once, roommates at the Juilliard school. 2 young men with everything ahead of them, pushing each other to greatness, finishing each other's musical phrases the way old couples finish each other's sentences. They shared everything: meals, dreams, practice rooms, secrets. Until they didn't. Until a competition, a woman, and a mysterious illness tore them apart forever. Or so everyone thought. But 3 months ago, Owen sent Darius a letter, an invitation, a plea, and against every instinct screaming at him to refuse, Darius said yes. 25 years earlier, the practice rooms of Juilliard hummed with ambition and competition. Every student was brilliant. Every student was hungry. But even among this gathering of prodigies, 2 names stood out: Darius Coleman and Owen Mitchell. They met during orientation week in 1999. Darius, a scholarship student from Detroit, had grown up playing piano in his grandmother's church. Music was in his blood, passed down through generations of musicians who never got their chance to shine. He arrived at Juilliard with something to prove, not just to the world, but to every ancestor who had been denied their dream. Owen came from Connecticut, from a family of professors and doctors who viewed music as a respectable hobby, not a profession. His parents had reluctantly agreed to let him attend Juilliard, but they expected him to eventually pursue something more practical. Owen carried that weight, quietly determined to prove that art could be a life, not just a pastime. They became roommates by chance, friends by choice. Darius would practice Rachmaninoff until 2 in the morning, and Owen would listen from his bed, occasionally calling out suggestions. Owen would struggle with a Bach fugue, and Darius would sit beside him, showing him how to feel the mathematics in the music. They challenged each other. They celebrated each other's victories. They understood each other's demons. By their junior year, they were inseparable. Faculty members spoke of them as a unit. Where you found Darius, Owen wouldn't be far behind. They performed duets in student recitals that brought audiences to tears. They studied scores together, arguing passionately about interpretations, then laughing about their arguments over cheap pizza at midnight. And then in the spring of their junior year, Sarah walked into their lives, She was a violinist. Talented, beautiful, with a laugh that could light up the darkest practice room. She joined their study group, started attending their recitals, became part of their world. And both Darius and Owen fell in love with her. At first, they joked about it. Friendly competition, they said. May the best man win. But underneath the jokes, something shifted. The easy friendship began to carry weight. Sarah seemed to enjoy the attention, flirting with both of them, never quite choosing. And slowly, almost imperceptibly, a wedge began to form between two men who had once been brothers. By their senior year, both Darius and Owen had their sights set on the Cliburn International Piano Competition. It was one of the most prestigious competitions in the classical music world, held every 4 years in Fort Worth, Texas. Winners received a cash prize, a recording contract, and instant recognition that could launch a career into the stratosphere. The application process was rigorous. The preliminary rounds were brutal. But against hundreds of applicants from around the world, both Darius Coleman and Owen Mitchell made it to the final round. They would compete against each other and 6 other pianists for the gold medal. Sarah was thrilled. She would attend the finals, she said, to support them both. The week before the competition, the 3 of them sat in Central Park eating ice cream like they used to. For a moment, it felt like old times. Darius and Owen laughed together, finished each other's sentences, talked about music with the passion that had first brought them together. No matter what happens in Texas, Owen said, we're still brothers. Right? Always. Darius replied, and he meant it. But Sarah watched them both with an expression that neither man understood. Later, much later, Owen would remember that look and realize what it meant. But in that moment, sitting in the spring sunshine, everything felt possible. The competition took place over 6 days. Each round eliminated pianists until only 3 remained. Darius and Owen both made it to the final round. The night before the finals, they were staying in the same hotel just down the hall from each other. Darius ordered room service that evening. A simple dinner, grilled chicken, vegetables, water. He ate alone, reviewing his chosen piece one more time in his mind. Beethoven's Hammerklavier Sonata. It was a beast of a piece, technically demanding and emotionally exhausting, but Darius knew he could master it. He had prepared for months. Around midnight, he began to feel sick. At first, just mild discomfort. But within an hour, he was violently ill. Food poisoning, the hotel doctor said, severe enough that Darius could barely stand, let alone perform. At 3 in the morning, Darius called the competition organizers and withdrew. He was devastated, humiliated. And from his hotel bed, he watched on television as Owen Mitchell took the stage and delivered a flawless performance of Chopin's Piano Concerto No. 2. The audience gave him a standing ovation. The judges awarded him the gold medal. And Sarah, sitting in the audience, stood and applauded longer than anyone. Darius returned to New York, broken. He couldn't prove anything, but the suspicion ate at him like acid. The food had been delivered to his room. He had eaten it alone. And the next morning, Owen had won everything. When Darius finally confronted Owen, his former friend was shocked, defensive, angry. You think I poisoned you? Are you insane, Darius? I would never. But Darius didn't believe him. The timing was too convenient. The stakes too high. And when 6 months later Owen and Sarah announced their engagement, Darius saw it as confirmation. They had both wanted him out of the way. They had both gotten what they wanted. Darius left Juilliard 2 weeks before graduation. He didn't attend the ceremony. He didn't say goodbye. He took his piano skills to Detroit, started playing in jazz clubs, session work, weddings. anything to pay the bills. He was brilliant enough to make a living, but the classical world he had dreamed of conquering was closed to him. The Cliburn competition had been his shot, and someone had stolen it. Owen, meanwhile, rode his victory into a successful career. He performed with major orchestras for a few years, then transitioned into teaching at the Manhattan School of Music. He married Sarah in a ceremony that Darius wasn't invited to. They had a good life, by all accounts. A comfortable life. But Owen never forgot Darius. He never forgot the look of betrayal in his friend's eyes. And he never stopped feeling guilty, even though he hadn't done anything wrong. The guilt grew heavier when he realized that winning the competition hadn't brought him the joy he expected. Playing piano began to feel like a reminder of what he had lost. Not the competition, his best friend. 25 years passed. Darius built a different kind of life. He married, had a daughter named Maya, divorced, kept playing. He was respected in jazz circles, made a decent living, but there was always a hole where his classical dreams used to be. Owen taught mentored students, stayed married to Sarah, but the guilt never left. And then 3 years ago, Sarah got sick. Cancer. Aggressive and merciless. In her final weeks as Owen sat by her hospital bed, she told him the truth. She had poisoned Darius's food. She had done it because she loved Owen and wanted him to win. She wanted them to be together, and Darius was in the way. Owen had never known. He had won the competition fairly as far as he knew. But his entire life, his marriage, his career had been built on a lie. Sarah died, believing she had done the right thing. Owen was left with the unbearable truth. The letter arrived on a Tuesday morning. Darius almost threw it away without opening it. He didn't recognize the return address, some apartment building in Manhattan. But something made him pause. Maybe curiosity. Maybe fate. Inside was a handwritten letter. The handwriting was shakier than Darius remembered, but he recognized it immediately. Owen. Dear Darius, it began. I know you have no reason to read this. I know I'm probably the last person you want to hear from. But I'm asking you to give me 5 minutes of your time. Just 5 minutes to read what I have to say. After that, if you want to throw this letter away and forget I exist, I'll understand. I deserve that. But please, just read this. Darius sat down at his kitchen table. His coffee grew cold as he read. Owen wrote about Sarah's confession. He wrote about living with guilt for 3 years. He wrote about how winning the Cliburn competition had felt hollow from the very beginning, and now he knew why. He wrote about all the times over 25 years when he had wanted to reach out to apologize for things he didn't even do just to have his friend back. And then Owen explained the real reason for the letter. The Juilliard school was celebrating its 75th anniversary with a gala concert. They had asked Owen to perform. He had agreed on one condition, that he could invite Darius to perform a duet with him. A piece for 2 pianos. One final performance together. I'm not asking you to forgive me, Owen wrote. I'm not even sure what I'm asking forgiveness for anymore, but I'm asking you to let me try to make things right. To give us both one chance to reclaim something we lost 25 years ago. If you say no, I'll understand. But if there's any part of you that wonders what we could have been together, any part of you that misses what we had, please say yes. Darius read the letter 3 times. Then he crumpled it up and threw it in the trash. 2 weeks later, a second letter arrived. This one was shorter. Darius, I wasn't completely honest in my last letter. There's something else you should know. I have Parkinson's disease. Early stage, but it's progressing. My hands shake. Some days I can barely play. The doctors say I have maybe 2 or 3 more years before I won't be able to perform at all. This concert might be my last chance to play in front of an audience. I don't want to use my illness to guilt you into saying yes, but I want you to know the whole truth. This isn't just about fixing the past. It's about having one beautiful moment before the music stops forever. I hope you'll consider it. Owen. Darius read this letter once. He didn't throw it away. He put it in a drawer in his desk and tried to forget about it. But he couldn't forget. The words haunted him. Parkinson's. 2 or 3 years. The music stops forever. That night, Darius's daughter Maya came over for dinner. She was 22, a graduate student studying music therapy. She had inherited her father's gift for reading people through their relationship with music. "You've been quiet all evening, Dad," she said as they cleaned up the dishes. "What's going on?" Darius hesitated, then told her everything. The old story about Owen and the competition, Sarah's deathbed confession, the invitation to perform, the diagnosis. Maya listened without interrupting. When he finished, she was quiet for a long moment. "Do you still love playing piano, Dad?" she finally asked. "Of course. Do you still love classical music? The pieces you used to dream about performing?" "Maya, where are you going with this? You've spent 25 years being angry at Owen, and it turns out he didn't even do anything wrong. You lost your best friend, your career dreams, everything because of a lie. Don't you think you've lost enough? Do you really want to lose this chance too?" Darius wanted to argue, but Maya had inherited his talent for cutting through nonsense. "He's dying, Dad. Maybe not tomorrow, maybe not this year, but the music is dying in him. And if you say no, you'll spend the rest of your life wondering what could have been." Again, 3 days later, Darius sent an email. Just 3 words. "I'll do it." Owen's response came within an hour. "Thank you. Can we meet?" They agreed to meet at a coffee shop in Greenwich Village neutral territory. Darius arrived 10 minutes early, his stomach churning with anxiety. When Owen walked in, Darius barely recognized him. His old friend had aged, of course, but it was more than that. Owen moved carefully, deliberately. His right hand trembled slightly as he waved. They sat across from each other, 2 middle-aged men who had once known everything about each other and now knew nothing. "Thank you for coming," Owen said. His voice was the same, at least. "I wasn't sure you would." "I wasn't sure either," Darius admitted. The silence stretched between them, awkward and heavy. "I'm sorry," Owen finally said. "For everything. For Sarah, for the competition, for not fighting harder to find the truth back then. I'm sorry I let 25 years pass without trying harder to reach you." Darius nodded slowly. Sarah really confessed. On her deathbed in the hospital, 3 weeks before she died. She thought she was protecting me, protecting us. She thought, "Darius, I swear to God, I never knew. I played that competition believing I won it fairly. I married her believing you had just given up on our friendship. I spent 25 years feeling guilty for something I didn't do. But maybe I should have felt guilty for not trying harder to prove my innocence. I wanted to believe you back then," Darius said quietly. "Part of me knew you weren't capable of something like that. But the evidence, the timing, everything pointed to you. And then you married her. I loved her. I thought she loved me. I didn't know the truth was poison." They sat in that coffee shop for 3 hours. They talked about the years they'd lost. Owen told Darius about his diagnosis, about watching his hands betray him a little more each month. Darius told Owen about his daughter, his career in jazz, the classical dreams he'd buried, but never quite killed. By the time they left, nothing was fixed. The 25 years of separation couldn't be erased in one conversation. But something had shifted. A door closed for a quarter century had opened just a crack. The Juilliard concert is in 6 weeks, Owen said, as they stood on the sidewalk. "We should start rehearsing." "What piece?" Darius asked. I was thinking Poulenc's concerto for two pianos. Do you know it? Darius smiled for the first time since they'd sat down. I know it. It's beautiful. It's also impossible if the two pianists aren't perfectly in sync. They have to trust each other completely. I know. Owen looked at him, and for just a moment, Darius saw the 22-year-old roommate he'd once known. Can we do that? Trust each other? I guess we're going to find out. The first rehearsal was a disaster. They met at Owen's apartment where he had a beautiful Yamaha grand piano in his living room. The plan was to use two digital pianos positioned like they would be on stage with headphones so they could hear each other perfectly. Darius arrived 15 minutes late. Owen was already warming up his fingers, moving through scales with the slight tremor that now characterized his playing. When Darius sat down at the second piano, the air between them felt thick with everything unsaid. Should we just start with the first movement, Owen suggested? Sure. They began. Poulenc's concerto for two pianos is a challenging piece filled with intricate passages where the two instruments weave around each other like dancers. It requires the pianists to be perfectly synchronized, listening to each other with absolute attention, responding to every subtle shift in tempo and dynamics. Darius and Owen were not synchronized. They were fighting. Every interpretation was a battle. Darius wanted to play a passage with more rubato, more emotional flexibility. Owen insisted on precision, on sticking to the marked tempo. Owen shaped a phrase one way. Darius contradicted him with a different approach. They stopped and started a dozen times in the first 20 minutes, the music fragmenting into arguments. You're rushing, Owen said at one point. I'm not rushing. You're dragging. The marking says allegro moderato, not allegro. The marking is a guideline, not a prison sentence. They glared at each other over the pianos. 25 years of resentment suddenly felt very present in the room. Owen rubbed his face with both hands. This isn't working. No, it's not. Maybe this was a mistake. Darius stood up. Maybe it was. He grabbed his jacket. I should go. But as he reached the door, Owen spoke again. Wait. His voice was different now, quieter. Please, just wait. Darius stopped his hand on the doorknob. You're right, Owen said. The marking is a guideline, and your interpretation has more emotion in it than mine. I've been teaching for so long that I forgot how to take risks. I'm sorry. Darius turned around. Owen was looking at him with such raw honesty that it was almost painful to witness. I need to tell you something. Owen continued. The reason I play so precisely, the reason I'm so rigid is because I'm terrified. My hands shake, Darius. Some days worse than others. If I don't stay absolutely in control, if I don't follow every marking exactly, I'm afraid I'll fall apart completely. I'm not trying to suffocate the music. I'm trying to hold on to it before it disappears. The anger drained out of Darius. He walked back to the piano and sat down. Then we'll find a middle ground, Darius said. Your precision and my emotion. That's what made us good together. Remember, you kept me grounded. I kept you from being too safe. We balanced each other. Owen nodded, not trusting himself to speak. They started again. This time they listened more than they asserted. When Darius wanted to stretch a phrase, Owen allowed space for it. When Owen needed the structure of a strict tempo, Darius respected it. Slowly, measure by measure, they began to find each other in the music. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't even good, really, but it was a start. They rehearsed 3 times a week for the next month. Each session brought small improvements. The music started to flow instead of fight. But the personal tension remained a wall between them that the music couldn't quite break through. During their 4th week of rehearsals, they took a break. Owen made coffee, while Darius looked at the photographs on Owen's bookshelf. Most were of students' concert halls, academic ceremonies. But there was one wedding photo. Owen and Sarah young and radiant, smiling at each other like they were the only 2 people in the world. "You must miss her," Darius said before he could stop himself. Owen brought over 2 mugs of coffee and sat down on the couch. "Every day. Even after everything, I miss her." "Did you love her? Really love her?" "I did. I do. That's what makes her confession so complicated. She did a terrible thing. She destroyed your life to build ours. But she did it because she loved me. How do you hate someone for loving you too much?" Darius sat down in the armchair across from him. "How long did you have together?" 22 years. 3 months, 14 days? Owen smiled sadly. "I counted. That's a long time. Not long enough." Owen stared into his coffee. The last few weeks when she was dying, she talked a lot. The morphine made her confused sometimes, but other times she was perfectly clear. She told me things I never knew. About her childhood, her parents, her fears. And then one night she told me about you. Darius tensed. "She said she had loved us both." Owen continued. "But she chose me because she thought I needed her more. You were so confident, so talented, so sure of yourself. She thought you would be fine no matter what happened. But me, I was always second-guessing myself, always worried about disappointing my parents. She thought I would fall apart without her." "She was wrong about me," Darius said quietly. "I wasn't fine, I know, and that's what killed her in the end. Not the cancer, the guilt." Owen set down his coffee, his hands shaking more than usual. 3 weeks before she died, she made me promise to tell you the truth. She said she had watched me carry the weight of your hatred for 25 years, and she couldn't let me die still carrying it. She wanted me to find you, to tell you everything, to try to fix what she broke. Is that why you invited me to perform, because she asked you to?" "At first, maybe. But Darius, the truth is, I've wanted to reach out for years. I've written you letters I never sent. I've looked up your performances online and watched videos of you playing. I've told my students about this brilliant pianist I used to know. Sarah's confession gave me permission to finally do what I'd been too afraid to do on my own." The room fell silent, except for the ticking of a clock on the mantel. "There's more," Owen said. "Something else Sarah told me. Something I need you to know." Darius waited. The night before the Van Cliburn finals, Sarah ordered room service to your room. She told the hotel she was your girlfriend, that she wanted to surprise you with dinner. She added something to the food. I don't know what. Some kind of emetic something to make you sick. She did it because she wanted me to win. She thought if you were out of the way, I'd have a clear path to the gold medal, and then we could be together. Darius felt the room spin. "She told you this?" "Yes. And she said she never regretted it until the end. She said she had given us a good life together and that was worth the cost." But Darius Owen's voice broke. "I didn't know. I swear on everything I hold sacred, I did not know. I won that competition believing it was fair. I married her believing you had just walked away from our friendship. I built my entire life on a foundation I didn't know was poisoned. 25 years of hatred, of betrayal, of loss suddenly had nowhere to go. The target of Darius's anger had been wrong all along. Owen hadn't destroyed him. Sarah had. And Sarah was dead. "I need some air," Darius said, standing up abruptly. He walked out onto Owen's balcony, gripping the railing, trying to breathe. The city stretched out below him, millions of lights representing millions of lives, and his entire understanding of his own life had just been rewritten. Owen followed him outside but kept his distance. "Say something," Owen said. "Yell at me. Hate me. Just say something. I don't know what to say. I spent 25 years hating you. 25 years believing you had betrayed me. And you didn't. You're as much a victim in this as I am." "We both lost," Owen said. "We lost each other. And that's the real tragedy. Sarah took away the competition, yes, but she also took away our friendship. And I don't know if we can ever get that back." Darius turned to look at him. In the city lights, Owen looked older, more fragile. The tremor in his hands was more pronounced. "What if we try?" Darius said. "What? What if we try to get it back? The friendship, the music, all of it. What if that's what this concert is really about, not performing for Juilliard, not honoring Sarah's dying wish, but reclaiming what we lost?" Owen's eyes filled with tears. "Do you think that's possible? I don't know. But maybe that's the point of the Poulenc concerto. It's impossible if we don't trust each other. So maybe learning to play it together is how we learn to trust each other again." They stood on that balcony for a long time, two men who had once been brothers, wondering if they could find their way back to each other through the language they both spoke, best music. The next rehearsal was different. Darius arrived on time. Owen had tea ready. They didn't talk about Sarah. They didn't talk about the past. They just sat down at the pianos and began to play. But something had shifted. The music that had been fighting them for weeks suddenly began to flow. The first movement of the Poulenc, with its playful exchanges between the two pianos, felt like a conversation between old friends. Darius would play a phrase, and Owen would answer it with understanding. Owen would introduce a theme, and Darius would develop it with creativity and flair. They played for 90 minutes straight, barely pausing between movements. When they finished the entire concerto, they both sat in stunned silence. That was Owen started. "I know Darius finished." They looked at each other, and for the first time in 25 years, they laughed together. Real laughter, the kind that comes from joy rather than politeness. "We're going to be okay," Owen said. "Yeah," Darius agreed. "I think we might be." Over the next 2 weeks, the rehearsals became less about practicing notes and more about rediscovering each other. They talked between movements. Owen told stories about his students. Darius talked about his daughter, about the jazz clubs, where he played about the life he'd built from the ashes of his classical dreams. One afternoon, Darius brought his daughter Maya to meet Owen. She was curious about this man who had been such a pivotal figure in her father's life. Owen shook her hand warmly. "Your father used to talk about having kids someday. He said he wanted to pass on his grandmother's legacy." "He did," Maya said. "He taught me to play when I was 5. I'm not as good as him, but I understand what music can do for people. That's why I'm studying music therapy. Your father was always good at understanding what music could do for people too. He just forgot that about himself for a while." Maya smiled at her father. "I think he's remembering." Darius felt something crack open in his chest. For 25 years, he had told himself that his life had been destroyed. But looking at his daughter, thinking about the jazz musicians he'd mentored, the sessions he'd played, the music he'd brought into the world even without the classical career he'd dreamed of, maybe his life hadn't been destroyed. Maybe it had just been different. "I need to tell you something," Darius said to Owen after Maya left. "I forgive you. For whatever you think you need to be forgiven for not fighting harder to prove your innocence, for marrying Sarah, for living the life I thought should have been mine. I forgive you, and I'm sorry for hating you for so long." Owen's eyes filled with tears. "I forgive you too, for walking away, for not giving me a chance to explain, for 25 years of silence." They embraced two men who had lost each other in their youth and found each other again in middle age. The hug lasted a long time, and when they pulled apart, something had healed between them. Not everything. Wounds that deep, never completely close, but enough. The final 2 weeks before the concert were transformative. The music they created together transcended technical perfection. When they played the Poulenc now, it wasn't just two pianists performing a concerto. It was a conversation, a reconciliation, a healing happening in real time through sound. The second movement, marked Larghetto, was particularly powerful. It's a slow, contemplative movement, filled with long, singing lines that require the two pianists to breathe together to feel the music as a shared experience. The first time they played it after their emotional breakthrough, both men had tears streaming down their faces by the final chord. "This movement is about loss," Owen said when they finished. Poulenc wrote it after his close friend died. Listen to how the two pianos support each other through the grief. One voice carries the melody, while the other provides harmonic support. They trade roles, taking turns being strong for each other. "Like we should have done," Darius said quietly. "Like we're doing now." They practiced that movement over and over, not because it needed technical work, but because it had become their meditation, their therapy, their way of processing 25 years of pain. During one rehearsal, Owen's right hand began to shake badly in the middle of a passage. He stopped playing, frustrated and embarrassed. "I'm sorry," he said, flexing his fingers. "It's getting worse." "Then we adapt," Darius said. "Show me which passages are the hardest with the tremor." They spent the next hour restructuring some of the parts, with Darius subtly taking over the most technically demanding passages in Owen's part, while Owen handled the more lyrical sections where slight variations in timing would seem intentional rather than symptomatic. It required perfect trust and communication, but they found it. "You know what's interesting?" Darius said during a break. Poulenc wrote this concerto as a collaboration. He wasn't trying to show off one pianist over the other. He wanted two equals supporting each other, creating something neither could create alone. "Like us at Juilliard," Owen said. "Like us now." 1 week before the concert, they performed the entire concerto straight through without stopping. It was the best they'd ever played it. When they finished, they sat in silence for a moment, knowing they had created something special. "Are you nervous?" Owen asked. "About performing in front of an audience?" "Terrified," Darius admitted. "I haven't played classical music for an audience in 25 years. What if I've lost it?" "You haven't lost anything. If anything, you've found something new. All those years playing jazz session work, improvising, you've developed flexibility and emotional depth that I never achieved. You're a better musician now than you were at 22. So are you. You've learned patience teaching all those students. You understand the architecture of music in a way you didn't back then. So maybe we're both exactly who we need to be for this performance. Maybe we are." The night before the Juilliard Gala, Darius and Owen met for dinner at a quiet Italian restaurant in the Upper West Side. They had agreed not to practice that evening. They needed to rest to let the music settle in their bones. Over pasta and wine, they talked about everything except the concert. Owen told Darius about his latest diagnosis appointment. The Parkinson's was progressing, but slowly. He might have 5 good years left, maybe more with medication, or maybe less. There was no way to know. "I'm scared," Owen admitted. "Not of dying, but of losing the piano before I'm ready to let it go. Music is who I am. Without it, I don't know who I'll be. You'll be the same person," Darius said. "The music doesn't live in your hands, Owen. It lives in your understanding, your soul. Even if you can't play, you'll still be a musician." "Will I?" "Yes. Because being a musician isn't about the instrument. It's about how you hear the world. And that never leaves you. Trust me, I know. I thought I lost my music 25 years ago. But it was always there, just waiting for me to remember how to listen." They sat with that thought for a while. What about you? Owen asked. What are you scared of? Darius considered the question. I'm scared that tomorrow will be perfect, that we'll play beautifully, the audience will love it, and then it'll be over, and we'll go back to our separate lives. I'm scared of losing you again now that I've found you. We don't have to lose each other. We could keep playing together, form a duo, record an album, tour, with your condition for as long as I can. And when I can't anymore, you'll keep playing. You'll go back to the classical world you left behind. You'll show them what they missed. I don't want the classical world without you. Owen reached across the table and put his hand on Darius's. Then we'll figure something out. But tomorrow, let's not think about what comes after. Let's just play. For ourselves. For the music. For the friendship we lost and found again. Darius squeezed his hand. For 25 years of silence, we're finally breaking. For 25 years of silence. After dinner, they walked through Central Park together. It was a cool September evening, the kind of night that feels like possibility. They walked without speaking for a while, comfortable in the silence. Finally, Owen stopped near Bethesda Fountain, the same fountain where they used to meet as students. I need to say something, Owen said. I've been carrying this for 3 years since Sarah's confession. I need to apologize to you not for what I did, but for what I didn't do. Owen, please let me finish. When you accused me of poisoning you, I was so shocked, so hurt that I went on the defensive. But I should have fought harder to prove my innocence. I should have demanded an investigation. I should have done everything in my power to find out what really happened. Instead, I just accepted that our friendship was over. I was angry at you for not trusting me, but I never gave you a real reason to trust me. I just let you walk away. You tried to talk to me, Darius said. Not hard enough. Not nearly hard enough. I sent a few emails, made a couple of phone calls, but when you didn't respond, I gave up. And then I married Sarah, and I told myself that I was moving on, that I was choosing my future over my past. But the truth is, I was taking the easy path. It was easier to build a new life than to fight for the old one. And I'm sorry for that. Darius felt his own tears start to fall. I'm sorry too. I should have listened to you back then. Part of me knew you weren't capable of something like that. But I was so hurt, so angry that I needed someone to blame. And you were convenient. I made you the villain in my story because it was easier than accepting that sometimes terrible things just happen. That sometimes life is just unfair. We both made mistakes. We both lost years we can't get back. They stood there by the fountain, 2 middle-aged men crying in public, not caring who saw them. But we have now, Owen said. We have tomorrow, and that has to be enough. It is enough, Darius agreed. They embraced again, holding each other like drowning men who had finally found solid ground. When they pulled apart, Owen smiled. You know what Sarah said to me right before she died? Her very last words. What she said, tell Darius I'm sorry, and tell him to forgive you because you never did anything wrong. And then she said, play something beautiful together. That's how you'll know you're really forgiven. Then that's what we'll do tomorrow, Darius said. We'll play something beautiful, and we'll know. The morning of the concert, Darius woke up with butterflies in his stomach. He hadn't felt this nervous about a performance in decades. Maya came over early to have breakfast with him. You're going to be amazing, Dad, she said, watching him barely touch his eggs. What if I mess up? What if my fingers don't remember how to play classical music? Your fingers remember. But Dad, that's not what you're really worried about, is it? Darius looked at his daughter. She had always been able to read him too well. I'm worried that this is it. That after tonight, Owen and I will have had our moment of reconciliation, and then we'll drift apart again because real life isn't a concert hall. It's messy and complicated, and friendship takes work. So do the work, Maya said simply. You spent 25 years apart. Don't waste whatever time you have left. Owen is sick, Dad. Every moment you have with him is a gift. Don't take it for granted. When did you get so wise? I had a pretty good teacher. She smiled. Now finish your breakfast. You need your strength. And Dad, remember why you're doing this. Not for Juilliard, not for the audience, not even for Owen. You're doing this for that 22-year-old kid who had his dream stolen. You're giving him one more chance to play on a big stage. Give him that gift. Darius hugged his daughter tightly. I love you, Maya. I love you too. Now go make some beautiful music. Carnegie Hall hummed with anticipation. The gala concert celebrating Juilliard's 75th anniversary had drawn an impressive crowd. Current students, faculty, alumni, donors, critics, and music lovers. The program included performances by several distinguished alumni, but the piece that had generated the most buzz was the final performance of the evening Poulenc's Concerto for two pianos, performed by Darius Coleman and Owen Mitchell. The story had leaked, as stories do. Two former best friends, separated by betrayal, reuniting after 25 years. The classical music community loves a good narrative, and this one was irresistible. Backstage, Darius and Owen prepared in adjacent dressing rooms. Darius stared at himself in the mirror, wearing the same concert tux he'd worn for jazz performances, but had never imagined wearing for a classical concert again. His hands were steady, but his heart was racing. There was a knock on his door. Owen stood in the hallway, also in his concert attire, his right hand trembling visibly. I can't stop shaking, Owen said. I don't know if it's the Parkinson's or nerves. Probably both, Darius said. Come in. Owen entered the dressing room and sat down. What if I can't do this? What if I get out there and my hands completely fail? Then I'll carry you. That's what partners do. Darius sat beside him. Remember what you told me last week? We're not two soloists competing. We're a duo. When you're weak, I'll be strong. When I falter, you'll steady me. That's the whole point of playing together. I'm scared. Me too. I'm terrified. But we're scared together, and somehow that makes it better. They sat in silence for a moment, listening to the muffled sounds of the audience taking their seats. No matter what happens out there, Owen said, thank you for giving me this chance, for forgiving me, for being my friend again. Thank you for not giving up on me, for writing those letters, for telling me the truth. A stage manager knocked on the door. 5 minutes, gentlemen. They stood up, straightened their ties, took deep breaths. Ready? Owen asked. Ready, Darius confirmed. They walked to the stage entrance together, two men about to face their past, their pain, and their music. The lights in Carnegie Hall dimmed. The audience fell silent. From opposite wings of the stage, Darius and Owen emerged into the spotlight. The symbolism wasn't lost on anyone. Entering from opposite sides, just as they had lived opposite lives for 25 years. Walking toward each other, toward the two grand Steinways positioned face to face in the center of the stage. The applause was warm, encouraging. Many in the audience knew the story. Others were simply excited to hear the music. But as Darius and Owen reached their respective pianos, the applause faded, and the silence that filled the hall was electric with anticipation. Darius sat at the first piano. Owen sat at the second. They looked at each other across the space between the instruments. In that look was everything: the friendship they'd lost, the years they'd wasted, the forgiveness they'd finally found, the music they were about to create. Owen gave a slight nod. Darius nodded back. And they began. The first movement of Poulenc's Concerto for two pianos opened with a playful, syncopated theme. Owen introduced it, his fingers dancing across the keys with surprising steadiness. Darius answered his response, adding warmth and soul to Owen's precision. From the very first measures, it was clear that something special was happening. This wasn't just a performance. It was a conversation in sound, a dialogue between two voices that understood each other perfectly. The audience leaned forward in their seats, drawn in by the intimacy of what they were witnessing. The two pianos chased each other through Poulenc's brilliant, quirky harmonies, sometimes in unison, sometimes in playful opposition, always in perfect balance. Darius took risks that Owen would never have taken alone, stretching phrases with rubato, adding subtle dynamic shadings that made the music breathe. Owen provided the structural foundation that Darius needed, his steady rhythm and clear articulation, giving Darius the freedom to soar. When Owen's right hand trembled during a difficult passage, Darius subtly adjusted his own part, filling in the gaps so seamlessly that most of the audience never noticed. When Darius got so lost in the emotion of a lyrical section that he almost lost the tempo, Owen's steady pulse brought him back. They were partners. They were friends. They were one instrument with two voices. The second movement, the larghetto, brought tears to many eyes in the audience. It was slow, contemplative, heartbreakingly beautiful. The two pianos sang to each other long, melodic lines that seemed to ask questions and provide answers, to express grief and offer comfort. Darius played with his eyes closed, feeling the music more than thinking about it. Owen watched his partner, his best friend, and remembered why he had fallen in love with music in the first place. Not for the competitions or the acclaim or the career. For moments like this, where sound became emotion, where notes on a page became human connection. Halfway through the movement, a single tear rolled down Owen's cheek. He didn't wipe it away. He let it fall onto the keys as his fingers continued to play the notes, carrying all the grief and joy and loss and redemption of their shared story. Darius opened his eyes and saw Owen crying. He smiled through his own tears, and they played on their grief and joy, mingling in Poulenc's sublime harmonies. The third movement was a whirlwind, a joyful explosion of rhythm and energy. This was where the two pianos became truly equal partners, tossing melodic fragments back and forth like a playful game. The tempo was fast, the technical demands high, but Darius and Owen never faltered. Owen's hands were shaking more, now the adrenaline and exertion making the Parkinson's symptoms worse. But it didn't matter. Darius had adjusted completely to his partner's needs, taking over the most demanding passages, while Owen focused on the sections where musicality mattered more than technique. They were improvising in a sense the way Darius had learned to do in jazz clubs. Not changing the notes, but adjusting the interpretation in real time, responding to each other's needs and strengths with the kind of trust that can only come from true friendship. The audience was completely absorbed. This was no longer just a piano concerto. It was a miracle unfolding in real time. Two men separated by betrayal and lies for 25 years, creating beauty together that neither could create alone. As they approached the final section of the third movement, the music built to a massive climax. Both pianos played together in powerful unison, the sound filling every corner of Carnegie Hall. Darius and Owen were both crying now, openly not caring who saw. This was more than music. This was healing. This was forgiveness made audible. This was two souls that had been broken finding their way back to wholeness through the only language they both spoke fluently, the language of music. The final chord approached. Darius and Owen looked at each other, and in that moment everything they had been through, everything they had lost and found, was present in the space between them. They struck the final chord together, perfectly synchronized, and held it, letting the sound ring through the hall until it finally faded into silence. For a moment, no one moved. The silence was complete. And then the audience erupted. The applause was thunderous. Immediately, the entire audience rose to their feet, a spontaneous standing ovation that seemed to shake the foundations of Carnegie Hall. Darius and Owen sat at their pianos, stunned, overwhelmed. They had played well, they knew that. But this response was about more than technical perfection. The audience had witnessed something profound, something that transcended music. They had watched two men forgive each other through sound. Darius stood first, then Owen. They moved toward each other in the space between the pianos, and without hesitation, they embraced, holding each other tightly, both still crying, both laughing through their tears. The applause grew louder. "We did it," Owen whispered into Darius's ear. "We really did it. We did," Darius confirmed. "Thank you for everything." They pulled apart and bowed to the audience, first together, then individually. The applause continued, showing no signs of stopping. People in the audience were crying too, moved by the performance and by the story they knew lay behind it. Maya was in the front row, tears streaming down her face, applauding so hard her hands hurt. Around her, Juilliard faculty members, who had taught both men, wiped their eyes. Alumni who remembered the scandal from 25 years ago stood in shock, realizing they had just witnessed a reconciliation that had seemed impossible. Darius and Owen bowed again, then turned to acknowledge each other with deep, respectful bows, the kind reserved for true partners. As they left the stage, walking off together this time, rather than from opposite wings, the standing ovation continued. The stage manager told them they needed to return for another bow. They did twice more, each time greeted with the same overwhelming response. Finally, backstage alone in the wings, they collapsed into chairs, exhausted, exhilarated, transformed. That was Owen started, but couldn't find the words. "I know," Darius said. "I know." They sat in silence, listening to the applause that continued, even though they were no longer on stage, letting the reality of what they had just accomplished sink in. An hour later, after greeting well-wishers and posing for photographs, Darius and Owen finally escaped to a quiet corner of Carnegie Hall's backstage area. They were still in their concert attire, still processing what had happened. "I can't believe we just played Carnegie Hall," Darius said, laughing. "I mean, I've played jazz here before, but this was different." "Everything about tonight was different," Owen agreed. His hands were still trembling, the adrenaline and exertion having taken their toll. "My hands are completely shot. I don't think I'll be able to play for a week." "That's okay. We have time." Owen looked at him. After tonight, what happens? Do we just go back to our separate lives?" "Not if I can help it," Darius said. "Owen, I spent 25 years without you in my life. I don't want to waste whatever time we have left. Whether that's 5 years or 50, I want to spend it making music with you, even knowing that I'm getting worse, that eventually I won't be able to play at all. Especially knowing that. Every moment we have together is precious. Let's not waste a single one." Owen's eyes filled with tears again. "What are you saying?" "I'm saying, let's form a duo. Let's record an album. Let's perform as much as we can while we still can. And when you can't play anymore, I'll keep playing. But I'll always remember that you taught me how to listen again, how to feel music again, how to forgive. You taught me how to take risks again, how to feel, instead of just think, how to let go of guilt." They sat together in comfortable silence for a moment. "Thank you," Owen finally said, "for giving me this gift. This night, this second chance. Thank you for not giving up on me, for writing those letters, for being stubborn enough to believe we could find our way back to each other." Maya appeared in the doorway. "Dad, they want you both at the reception. We'll be right there," Darius said. But before they left, Owen pulled Darius into one more embrace. "Brothers," Owen asked, using the word they hadn't spoken to each other in 25 years. Brothers, Darius confirmed. Always. 6 months later, on a Sunday afternoon in March, Darius and Owen sat at their respective pianos in Owen's apartment, working on a new piece for 2 pianos by contemporary composer Caroline Shaw. Owen's condition had worsened. His right hand trembled almost constantly now, and there were days when he couldn't play at all. But today was a good day, and they were making music together. Maya sat on the couch listening, doing homework for her music therapy graduate program. She had become a regular presence at their rehearsals, often offering insights that helped them navigate Owen's declining abilities. They had recorded an album of 2 piano works that would be released next month. They had performed 3 more concerts together, each one precious, each one potentially the last. Critics had called their partnership a testament to the healing power of music and a masterclass in collaboration and forgiveness. But none of that mattered as much as this 2 old friends playing music together on a Sunday afternoon, grateful for every note. When they finished the piece, Owen flexed his hands, wincing. "That's enough for today," he said. "My hands are done." "Mine too," Darius lied. His hands were fine, but he knew Owen needed to stop. They moved to the living room where Maya had made tea. The 3 of them sat together talking about music and life and the future, however long or short it might be. "I've been thinking," Owen said. "When I can't play anymore, I want to keep making music with you. Maybe I could compose pieces for you to perform, or we could teach together." "I'd like that," Darius said. "Teaching with you sounds perfect." "You 2 are disgustingly wholesome," Maya said, but she was smiling. They laughed together, these 3 people who had become a family of sorts. Bound not by blood, but by music and forgiveness, and the profound truth that it's never too late to heal old wounds. Outside the window, the afternoon sun painted the city in gold. Somewhere in the apartment, a piano waited for fingers that might play it tomorrow, or the next day, or never again. But that was okay, because the music didn't live in the piano. It didn't even live in the hands that played it. The music lived in the connection between 2 souls who had found their way back to harmony after 25 years of dissonance. And that harmony once found could never truly be lost again.